Hey everyone, welcome to my team selection match day 2 video. I'll have a quick review of match day 1 before going on to what I'm going to do for match day 2. So we'll get straight into it. Match day 1 was pretty good, 77 points on the board. I'll just walk you through some of the decisions and steps that I made. So like we've talked about, a lot of people talked about preseason. I have not done any Euro fantasy stuff yet. I wanted to take not just a little bit of a break from a full season doing FPL content, and another up and coming season of FPL content will be on the way with some changes as well. Hopefully production quality and things are going to improve, but we'll get onto that later on into the summer. As for now, we're focused on the Euros. The idea, of course, for the Euros is you've got auto subs, or you can do manual subs and manual changes, which is what more engaged fantasy managers are going to be doing, where you'll play a player on, for example, the 15th of June, and then if they've done well, you'll leave them on. If you want to take a risk for the 16th of June, you'll bring on other players to replace them. So Italy kicked off the tournament against Turkey, so I have triple Italy, and Insigne, the Italy midfielder here, he was my first captain, and he got 8 points, which was great. 16 points in the bag for, all right, I'll take a risk. I've got some good players coming up. The second choice captain, I didn't go for Lukaku. I went for Christian Eriksen. Unfortunately, a terrible thing happened to him. I'm really glad that he's pulled through. He's awake. He's stable. He's sending out messages of gratitude to people. Really awful thing. I genuinely couldn't watch Denmark and Finland play after they came back out, and I couldn't even watch the Belgium game. It was just a really horrible event. Something that I remember seeing from my own football team with Fabrice Mwamba going down at White Hart Lane. It's truly terrible thing when something's just so bad and random happens like that. So obviously wishing him all the best in the world. Hopefully he can sort out whatever problem he is that occurred. So then Eriksen came off, and then I was always going to go for that last day punt with Ronaldo, watching the game against Hungary, and I'm thinking, oh my God, they can't break down the Hungarians here. And then there's a reason why he's one of the best of all time, right? He's up there with Messi as well, with Maradona, with Pele. He's up there as one of the all-time greats, and he pulls through with 2 goals, 20 points, 77 on the board. Other things to look out for here. Cheap goalkeeper, stuck with him. Penalty save, clean sheet against Denmark. I mean, again, I couldn't even celebrate. I couldn't even watch the rest of that game, unfortunately. Italy, absolute stonewall defense. It's just like they've not conceded in years, it feels like. And I think they haven't lost in 2 years in international football. Impressive form, impressive performance. Denmark players, I think we know, it was never going to be right after that. The Italians, again, doing well against Turkey. Berardi getting an assist. Llorente plays more like right back for Spain, but he was just a sub, so it's just having that risk of that last person who plays, and I just wanted a match day 1 sub. And Alaba for Austria caused a bit of controversy here, because he is usually for Austria, he plays in midfield. He got pulled back into defense, but then they were going for the attack. He managed to still get an assist. On Fan Team, he is a defender, but on this, he's a midfielder. 5.5 million, usually does play midfield for Austria, didn't, but still picked up an assist. Harry Kane missing an absolute sitter, it must be said. Also getting substituted. I don't know if he wasn't right. He was a bit deep at times, felt a little bit like those Spurs days when he goes way too deep into sort of a central midfielder position. And then the 2 boys up front with 2 goals apiece. A brace for Lukaku and a brace for Ronaldo. So a very popular move, and a one that, of course, I've made as well, is playing your Limitless Chip for match day 2. So for those of you that don't know, Limitless is where you can still only have 3 people from each team, so you can't just go out and choose a whole squad of France players, for example. But money doesn't matter. There's no spending limit for this at all. So it's like a free hit from FPL, but money is limitless. That's why it's called a Limitless Chip. So I explained some of my decisions here. Now, a key tab at the bottom, if you're on a computer, and you I can't remember if you can do this on the phone app, but if you're on a computer, you can click date. And this is very, very important for people, because it will tell you when the people are going to play. So if you're not doing auto substitutions, you're doing it by yourself, put it on date and make sure you're playing not your strongest team that you think will get the highest points, but in date order. So you guys can see at the minute, This could change. I've got 3 hours, 4 hours till deadline, something like that. Maybe a little bit longer. I've got Gareth Bale as a punt because he plays tomorrow, the 17th of June, okay? And he's my punt. Because if he goes ahead and bangs, his low ownership is against Turkey. He's the key man for Wales. If he doesn't do anything, I've got Harry Kane, Dumfries, of the defender from the Netherlands, and I've got Hernandez, the French defender, as well. So the great thing about this is, for things like Limitless, maybe you don't go out there and you choose all the best players that you think are the highest point scorers. You've also got to focus on dates. So you can see at the minute I have 2 Italian defenders this time and 1 Italian midfielder still, okay? And you can see I do have 3 French defenders. Now, when you look at my goalkeeper, I've got Stecklenburg, the Dutch goalkeeper, in. He plays on the 18th. Now, I had thought that I could play Pickford, England against Scotland, but that is also on the 19th. So it's pointless for me to have 2 players playing on the same date. So when you look at my midfield and think, why are you taking a punt on Yarmolenko and Gareth Bale? Because for my plan for my Limitless chip is to not just get players who I think could score points with a good fixture. So you've got Yarmolenko is playing North Macedonia. Bale has got Turkey. Wijnaldum has got Austria. For me, it was also the idea of choosing players that I can swap out. Because if you go ahead and you want to pick up a bunch of German players and French players and Portuguese players, and they all play on the 18th or the 19th, they're all like on the same day, or even just a day within each other, and you've got to make that really quick decision, it makes it more difficult. So having players that play on the 17th and then some on the 18th or some on the 19th or some on the 20th, then you've got that flexibility of, you know, making a better punt, let's say, of bringing on a defender. Because if I go ahead and Bale doesn't do anything, then that's great. I've got 3 fantastic options on the bench. But, you know, if Bale goes ahead and gets 20 points and Kevin De Bruyne doesn't play, and again, I've got those options on the bench because he plays on the 18th. Right, and I've still got players on my bench who play on the 19th, okay? So for Limitless, it's fantastic because you can choose 3 players, no price from any team whatsoever. So you can go ahead and you can stack it. You could go ahead, you can get Mbappe, you can get Griezmann, and you can get Benzema, and just have 3 French attackers if that's what you're feeling. But the problem with that is you'll have 3 players that all play on the 19th in those 3 striker spots. So that's all I have to say about the Limitless chip in itself. Why have I played it? I just feel like it's the best one because I'll go back to my original Game Week 1 team. Will I wildcard in Game Week 3? I haven't decided yet. My original plan was to Limitless in 2 and wildcard in 3. But the problem I would suggest why I might not wildcard in 3 is because after match day 3, you have unlimited transfers, which is basically a wildcard. And the reason why I wouldn't wildcard in 3 is, for example, if France have already qualified, in your match day 3 wildcard, you'd probably want 3 French players. But they're probably not going to play in that 3rd game. If Belgium have already qualified, if England have already qualified, you're looking at players, and if Italy have already qualified, if Italy win against Switzerland and they're already through, why would they play Cellini? Why would they play Spinazzola? Why would they play Bonucci? Why would they play Donnarumma, the goalkeeper? Like, if you're a manager and you're trying to, you know, keep your guys fresh, your key players in a tournament that spans just a few weeks, you wouldn't. So if you're doing a wild card on match day 3 and you're bringing in Mbappe and you're bringing in Harry Kane, you're bringing in Lukaku, you're bringing in Cellini or whoever, they're probably not going to play in that 3rd game. So yeah, in the knockouts, when everyone else will get a wild card with all unlimited transfers after the group stages, it feels like a match day 3 wildcard will be wasted unless you wildcard for that 3rd day specifically. So for example, let's just imagine Italy lose their 2nd match against Switzerland, right? That means they have to really go ahead and win that 3rd game. So if you wildcard and you don't have 3 Italy and you go to 3 Italy, that's where you're sort of putting your hat and saying, okay, Or you can take the big punt. And in that match day 3, you wild card in a bunch of players that you really, really think are going to play. Because they have to, or the team is out the competition. So let's just say England lose against Scotland and we have to win our last game. You only have Harry Kane. If you wild card on match day 3, you also bring in Raheem Sterling and Phil Foden. Because you know those guys are probably going to play because we cannot rest people. We have to win. And then when it gets to the knockout stages, you do your unlimited transfers to give yourself a balanced team again. That is another way of looking at it. I personally will just try and stick with my squad for match day 3. Use the unlimited transfers for the first knockout stages. And then use my wildcard probably in the quarterfinals. So this is how I'm looking now. I might have just a little bit of a tinker, but at the minute, captaincies with Italy. They're in the first game. Could take the punt on Bale. But Italy, in my opinion, in match day 1, were definitely one of the best looking teams. Even though they were the first game. Even though Turkey were pretty underwhelming. I think France and Germany both looked like really, really strong teams. I think for the first 20 minutes, England looked particularly impressive. Just need to push a little bit more, maybe change some of the tactics around. But overall, yeah, Belgium's... I said I only caught highlights of Belgium. I couldn't watch the game after the horrible Eriksen incident. But there you have it. So match day 1 was pretty good with 77 points. Unlimited, limitless chip played for match day 2. This is how I'm looking at the minute. Might be a couple of changes. I might not even take the risk on Kevin De Bruyne if he's got that knock. Unless I hear something that says, you know, he is really going to be ready for this one. I might instead swap in... probably Courtois, the goalkeeper for Belgium, and have another punt. The problem I find at the minute with the Euro Fantasy game, guys, is it doesn't feel like there's a lot of midfield. It feels like there's some smashing strikers, some good defenders. Midfield kind of feels a little bit like a sticking point at the moment. That's why I was hoping Kevin De Bruyne was going to be the man for match day 2, but we'll see. Let me know in the comments below what your strategy is for match day 2. Are you going ahead with Limitless? I do feel that that is a popular one. And who do you think is going to be the highest scoring captain for this game week? I can't look past Mbappe. I think Mbappe is probably where I'm going to end up hanging my hat for captaincy. Unless Italy go out there and Insigne goes out there and gets a hat trick, I'll probably stick with him for that one. But we'll just have to wait and see. So thanks for watching this video, guys, for the team selection for match day 2. Hopefully some stuff's going to be coming out over the summer. I'm going to be changing the channel around a little bit. And hopefully I'll also you'll join me for the new FPL season, which will be out in maybe just a month or so. So as always, guys, have a good one.